Come have some fun and watch some games. Time to get crazy. It's night and day. Yeah. Oh, good. Right into the thick of it. I'm going to lose all my good weapons immediately, right? I can't tell who's a good guy and who's a bad guy. Those guys are friends, but I lost my shield somehow. All right. That was a cool cutscene.
Yeah, now we are...
Oh.
There we go.
You jumped over there? Huh. Oh, there's a freaking jumping... There was a moving platform over here.
Yeah, you can't... Oh, excuse me, sir.
Whoa, that's Tartarus.
That is Tartarus, yes, and he has the...
Oh, well, he can one-shot you, by the way.
Yeah, that's also not fun.
I've been one-shot. It was fun. That was a hefty swing.
Excuse me, sir.
How do I stop it?
I need my friend back. There we go. Well, that's unfortunate.
Is Tartarus defeatable?
He is.
Oh, I'm sure he is with this gun. See you later, Tartarus. Best gun in the game, baby. Bink. Gotcha.
Gotcha. I'm all out of ammo, so this is gonna be interesting.
I'm not. I've got the best. Oh yeah, you wish you would hit me, but no, you just hit the freaking buildings, Tartarus.
Oh, dang it. That thing had ammo on it. Oh, there's elites now.
Oh, I floated. Tartarus hit me hard and I ascended.
Okay, well, I'm gonna have to join you, I think.
Alright. There we go. There's ammo up here in these little purple boxes.
That is perfect. Because that's exactly what I need.
Are they all carbines? No, some of them are old silly guns. I'd like to be able to pay attention to the story right now, guys, but people are shooting at me. Alright, are you... Okay.
Okay, there we go. And then we have to go back down and,
we just go back
destroy.
down. Oh, I'm going back up instead of down. How do we get down? The center tube is only an up.
Okay.
Are you guys good, guys? Oh yeah, you're friends. There's a lot of friends in this level.
There are a decent amount of friends that we can get here, yeah. Sergeant Johnson is currently sniping in the corner right now, just... Oh no.
Is that Sergeant Johnson?
Yeah, he's shooting.
Okay.
He's
I can just go over the edge. The bottom platform is bigger than the top platform. Okay. All you have to do is drop down.
Yeah. There's certain areas that make it a little easier to see than others, but yeah. So, Sergeant Johnson and us have to put in a decent amount of damage.
His shield is down. Let him have it.
Yeah, while his shields are down. And then we just kind of have to hope for the best after that. Just put in as much damage as possible.
There we go.
There we go.
Is he dead already?
No, no.
Oh, okay. Good. That would have been
excuse me, sir. I'm doing his... There we go.
Oh, he died already.
Yeah, there he is. Ow! Dude. Oh, no.
Oh,
okay.
ending.
There we go.
Is this the ending of the entire game?
There we go.
Alright. Oh, of course. A bridge commander is going to have to do an action hero sequence. Nobody's content to let somebody actually be a regular person with regular skills.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like it's just, what, Johnson... Yeah, Johnson, her, and the Arbiter, and, I guess, the elite friends.
Yeah, but, I mean, her skill set should not be Johnson's skill set.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, she's a key,
right.
so...
So she got the key. She launched it into space. It blew up.
What's that?
A beacon
What's it doing?
communicating at superluminal speeds with the frequency of
Communicating with what?
the other installations.
Show me.
Fail-safe protocol. In the event of unexpected shutdown, the entire system will move to standby status. All remaining platforms are now ready for remote activation.
Remote activation?
That's awesome.
From here?
Don't be ridiculous.
Listen, Tinkerbell, don't make me.
Then where?
Just
Where would
ask
someone
it,
go
guys. You
after
don't have to,
the
like...
other rings?
Why the Ark? Of course.
And where, Oracle, is that?
There you go. Basic question, guys. It's a machine. Don't ask it questions like it's a human. Threaten it.
It isn't one of ours. Take it out.
This is Spartan 117.
Anyone hear me? Over.
Isolate that signal. Master Chief, you mind telling me what you're doing on that ship?
Sir, finishing this fight.
Aha! So Master Chief is now on board the Thingamathonger.
Yep, yes indeed.
The remote activation device, the Ark.
Yes, he is now on his way, basically, to the Ark.
Oh, I thought he was on the Ark.
No,
That's
no,
fine then.
Yeah.
Alright. So now we play Master Chief for the second half of the mission. Oh, no, we get... There's that. We play as a molecule for the second half of the mission.
The single molecule.
Silence fills
Oh, cool, great
the
mind.
empty grave now that I have gone. But my mind is not at rest, for questions linger on.
Your dialogue is awesome.
Will ask, and you will answer.
Maybe Donner, maybe Prancer.
All right. Shoot.
The subtitles were so disjointed there
Playing catch up for sure.
the whole time. Okay, so Gravemind successfully escaped, and he's somewhere else than he has Cortana.
Right, Cortana is stuck at the what's it called? Is stuck at the Halo, and now Gravemind has taken over the Halo, and is gonna do whatever he can with it. I believe that is the end of the Great Journey.
That's the end of the whole game?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I guess it could be a cool intentional cliffhanger, but the way they played it off seemed it was more like a cool unintentional run out of development time.
Yeah, I think this was definitely their intention to set up Halo 3, because this is like a direct drop into Halo 3. So, yeah, it definitely could have been buttoned up a lot better. Its own sub-story instead of it like being a direct continuation.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, at this point they knew they were making Halo 3, so they just like went all in as a different section of the same story.
Yeah, that could be good. That could work. It's kind of a little disappointing in that this game definitely does not feel like its own self-contained story.
Right.
But it was a cool story.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely.
So very interesting ending.
Yeah, they definitely played this to be the middle ground between Halo 1 and their overarching story in Halo 3, to be kind of the cap on the trilogy that they at this point already had in mind. So I agree. Like the story on Halo 2 is like okay. I mean, I do like that they introduced the Covenant as a playable option.
Yeah.
For sure. So now you're getting multiple sides of kind of the same story. But yeah, I would have liked there's to be more meat to the actual story itself, for sure.
Well,
yeah.
I mean, I thought the story in and of itself had more going on than Halo 1 did, right? In Halo 1, there's a backdrop of the long war between humanity and the Covenant. And then Halo 2, or then the Flood enters into it.
Yeah.
And the Halo installation itself, and you learn what it is and what it's about.
Yeah, right.
And so that was cool. The Covenant, or the Flood being the bigger...
The overarching...
plot twist.
Yeah, exactly.
So it wasn't just simple storytelling the whole way through. That was cool. And now this one introduces Gravemind, where... Okay, so at this point in the game, are we supposed to be sure of what the Gravemind is, and I'm just not sure because of the cutscene order. Because if that's the case, we can just quickly go watch the cutscenes that we missed or whatnot.
Yeah.
Because we also didn't see all the terminals.
Right.
And put our reaction to those in, and then come back and talk about the ending. So we will meet you guys back after we've seen a couple of cutscenes.
Yes, indeed. We'll watch whatever we missed and hopefully fill in whatever blanks with either terminals and or cutscenes, and then we'll hop on back with the final, final thoughts for the rest of the Halo 2. Anyway.
All right, so we're diving back in to see any of the terminals that we missed.
Exactly. Yep. So this should fill in some blanks on the some of the story here.
Supreme Commander of the Covenant Fleet of Particular Justice, compiled by Lieutenant Commander Locke. First confirmed contact with Vadami came in 2535 on an unofficial human colony known as the Rubble. After-action reports from civilians, as well as Spartan Units 006, 111, and 120, suggest
Alright, so you were supposed to have known he was Tel Vadamine from the very first
terminal, yeah.
Spartan 006 engaged Vadami in combat on the Rubble. Both parties survived the encounter. Shortly after 2535, the UNSC first encountered the newly formed Covenant Fleet of Particular Justice, now led by Vadami.
So he's basically, they're saying he is one of the most ultimate badasses of the Covenant.
Early engagements with this fleet show that
kind of rewriting history to show
60 ships.
This guy is of basically equal importance to Master Chief.
Right.
Attempts to anticipate or even track Vadami's movements at the cost of a number of operatives' lives. Vadami eluded all such efforts, and he continued his unpredictable and devastating campaign. Vadami also stands out from other Covenant commanders in the frequency in which he takes a personal role in ground assaults.
Raw. Alright, so the first terminal was pretty cool. Basically, this guy is also a badass.
Right, exactly.
A little bit strange that a regular elite, however, can be up to the level of Master Chief, because Master Chief has different armor and everything compared to everyone else in the Terran army.
Right.
And
Vadami has the exact same armament as every other elite.
Exactly. So they're just saying he has the brains and the brawn well surpass a normal elite, even though he is still a normal elite.
Vadami led a group of elites in a personal assault on UNSC System HQ. One of the first units to engage Vadami was the 3rd Battalion Reserves.
He hit one of those key targets of the empty street,
unarmed and defenseless,
giving us insight into his military tactical genius. They said he was unpredictable, I guess.
Exactly. He just finds. But I mean, you would imagine their outposts should be heavily guarded.
To finish gearing up before engaging them in combat. While we've had multiple reports of a strict system of honor and ritual behavior followed by the elites within the Covenant,
I mean,
this is the first recorded example of such honor.
He just got up and shot.
Yeah,
that was it. Yeah,
that was not really. They.
3rd Battalion losses were complete.
They should have actually let him back off.
Yeah. And then they went invisible and whatever. They're just let them stand on their feet a little bit.
That dude didn't even get back to his feet. He was just standing up.
Yeah, exactly.
Stabs him. What an honorable.
Yeah, exactly. Destruction of first Halo.
The escape of Guilty Spark.
Yeah.
Quite unacceptable.
We're gonna see Sergeant Johnson flying away on a surfboard.
Yeah. He's the new Silver Surfer or whatever.
Since they've retconned him to survive somehow and be some total badass.
Yeah.
Just introduce a new character.
Yeah.
He's cool. I like him, but
they had Captain Key's daughter take the lead. I mean, you could have Sergeant Johnson's son or daughter or whatever if you want to do the same thing.
Or be more realistic and just have a different person in the army who's also a badass.
At a temple. My installation was a weapon, and one which we needed very, very badly.
But Oracle, I do not understand. We were told the rings are salvation, a gateway to paradise.
Told? By whom? Anyone who told you that is a fool, or quite mad. That installation was a beautiful tool, designed to destroy everything the Flood might feed on.
Everything?
Oh, quite everything. And if even one Flood spore survived the destruction of my ring...
Communications. Shut down all lines to the fleet. We will not notify the prophets of our discovery until I hear everything this Oracle has to say.
Heretic, the smartest of all.
Exactly, yeah.
Little time. What has been unleashed here could destroy everything you have ever known.
On that, Oracle, we are in agreement.
Whereas most species were grafted into the Covenant by faith or mutual beneficence, the Ungoi were not such.
Oh, these are the grunts.
Their kind was brought into the fold by force, and it was by force that they were held captive.
They look like baby San Sayun, almost. Like the little turtle heads.
And majesty. And their peoples were quickly laid low, many of them brought into subjugation.
All the aliens have no hair because their hair is so hard to animate.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Besides the brutes, I guess.
Yeah.
That's it, yeah.
Brutes didn't exist until Halo 2, right? So.
Others rise to the occasion, taking arms if need be, fighting back. Such it was for the Ungoi when their feud with the Kig-Yar led to rebellion. An effort by the Kig-Yar to sterilize the Ungoi population was met with stiff resistance, and for a time.
Alright, we didn't see this one before.
Definitely not, yeah.
Once fully provoked, the Ungoi were merciless in their violence, lashing out at all species. Their large
what do you mean all species? Were like... Were there 30 sentient species on this one planet?
I guess all of the species within the Covenant.
And with a ferocity unparalleled since the beginning of the Covenant, the Ungoi world would be reduced to glass. Those within the Holy City would be forced to watch, unable to stop what could have been the very end of their kind. The Ungoi rebellion was brought to an end by the Arbiter's hand.
I mean, that rebellion could have been brought to an end by anybody who pushed the button, dude. That Arbiter was not down there winning that war.
Yeah. He was just like, we're gonna use our largest weapons and just nuke you to death until. Yeah.
Sucks for the jackals that were on that planet too. I mean, it sucks for all the Ungoi too.
Definitely, yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
So yeah, you guys used to just be slaves, but you had a completely crazy violent revolt.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And because you showed that we could fight, then you get to be fighting
become
slaves.
Part of. Yeah, exactly. We'll spare your planet, but you now fight for us. Yeah.
No. Meridian 2551. So maybe there is a hidden terminal somewhere.
Yeah.
Play that funky music.
Yeah. Just walking around like badasses.
Oh, you got a cool voice.
Make haste. We have little time.
Man, kindle on, baby.
Yeah. This is way better than just being able to watch or read ebooks.
Yes.
It has been found, Commander. Very well. Mark the coordinates and proceed with caution.
Nice. What did you guys find?
And to think,
Lollipop?
it has been under the noses all this time.
Trick or treat.
Humans are foul animals. They lack the intellect and the purity to discern the ways of gods. Prepare the luminary for retrieval. The Hierarch will reward us for our devotion.
Alright, so these guys are still on board.
Yep.
With the Covenant and the Hierarchs, the Sun Sayun, or what,
Commander.
Turtle Friends.
Do you know what you found?
A luminary hierarch. A divine instrument.
It is more than that, Commander. This is the one spoken of in the prophecies. It lights the sacred path.
Okay. So they found a different Guilty Spark guy?
Stewards, good news, I pray.
Is that what the Luminary was?
Easy, Blessed One. The Luminary was not forthcoming with the holy words, but our hope proved true.
Wow, you guys can stand, huh?
Yeah. It's just those that...
The ultimate Hierarch leaders hang out in their chairs.
Halo. And not Halo alone, High Prophet. It also told of this. The final home of the Forerunners, and the creation of the sacred rings. The Ark.
By the gods, it is glorious. The stories were true. Where did the gods hide such a treasure?
It lies far beyond the borders of our galaxy, accessible only by way of portal. The one portal the Luminary spoke of was here. The Forerunners called it Erde Tyrene.
Our calling is clear. We must go there at once. We will take the ships in our command and go to this world immediately. This Erde Tyrene.
Alright, so this shows how the Covenants
Your work signals
learned
the culmination of our
how to get to the Ark.
holy quest.
Mm-hmm.
Hold
And the
fast.
portal to the Ark.
The great journey
Just happened to be in Earth.
Oh, Erde Tyrene is Earth?
Mm-hmm.
That's stupid. Really?
And that's why the Covenant forces were
Roger that.
trying to
Meet you at the rendezvous point
invade
when we're
Earth.
done.
Oh, okay.
Point 2 out.
John should be here too.
That's a
They'd
little
listen to him.
ridiculous. Maybe
Somebody
they'll
needs to be getting
explain
work done while we deal
why
with
it's
the red
not
tape.
ridiculous.
What do you think they want from us?
It's naval intelligence, Linda. They want us to tell them everything's gonna be okay.
Hate to disappoint.
Are these guys from Reach or from a different Halo game? Because these guys are, they're a bunch of
Blue
Master
team.
Chiefs right here.
Where's the Master Chief?
Exactly.
He asked that I answer the Council's questions. Sir,
He hates you guys.
Yeah.
we've been reviewing your report. You found a Covenant command and control station. It says here they were amassing an invasion fleet of more than 500 ships. The station was...
Station Testicle Alpha.
disabled, but the threat is still out there.
Oh,
I
God.
have the report, but for the record of this
Wow.
council,
Vasectomy
what was this
process.
fleet's intended target, Spartan?
Spartans were the guys from Reach. Trying to know who these characters are? I don't know. Ah, get your feet off the desk.
Yeah, how dare you. Look what you did.
Information on probe Charlie 319er. Looks like it might be a faulty reading, but
Alert, 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 alert.
this can't be right.
C319 is active and functioning properly.
Station! Alert home fleet immediately! They found us! The Covenant! They found Earth!
So we can now go over our final thoughts of the game. Yeah, it's such a great game. So yeah, there's tons and tons and tons and tons of good stuff about Halo 2. Especially the anniversary where they completely updated the graphics and the CG
Yeah.
scenes. I never saw the original CG scenes, but like the modern updated ones look phenomenal.
Yeah,
Like these are some of the highest end CG, high quality. People look great, aliens look great, all the textures look great, the details look amazing, everything looks really well done. This is like high-end stuff like Square and Blizzard, where you really, they really put a ton of time and attention to detail, and the cutscenes all come out looking amazing.
Yeah, for sure. And as someone who has played the Halo series before, it is cool to see like this very modern, this updated look on what the previous ones look like, because it's a completely different world when you're playing the games for sure. It looks fantastic, and yeah, the way they redid the levels, like a lot of what they did like really shines through. It really like brings a whole new element to the game, so that's a lot of fun for sure. But yeah, the cutscenes were up like a whole new level. Is fantastic. So I had a huge amount of fun just going through and seeing this like new take on the old game for sure. It was a lot of fun to go through, and that was that was just one major point. And going through like seeing the remakes of the levels and the different like guns and all that kind of stuff, kind of revamped a little bit. Definitely pretty cool for sure.
Yeah, and the other major new thing for Halo 2 was, of course, stepping into the shoes of the Covenant, and you get to play as Thel Vadamine?
Vadamine, yeah.
Yeah, so this guy is total badass elite soldier from the Covenant. Every once in a while, one of them proves their ranks, starts questioning things, questioning the ideals of the Prophets, and gets labeled an Arbiter to make him redirect his efforts and make him a hero, but also get him out of the way from subverting what they believed their actual strong beliefs are. So yeah, really cool. Unexpected for me, since the Covenant was just kind of nameless, faceless bad guys in the first Halo. It didn't seem like this was necessarily their plan from the initial game, but I really liked the direction they took it at, and it was fun playing as the Covenant and getting to step into their shoes and see the whole thing from their perspective during the Civil War that was going on. Really, really cool. Really a major fun part of the game.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that was definitely something I was not expecting at all when I first played Halo 2, especially because they do still put you in Master Chief's shoes for the first couple of levels. So you're like, oh, this is going to be kind of more of the same kind of thing, except they're just going to dive into the story a little bit more, and then they just drop you into the Arbiter's shoes, and then you get to see just all being an Arbiter does to like one of the actual elites, and then and then you dive deeper into what an Arbiter means, and I mean, this guy just happens to be the one that is I guess worthy enough or has enough critical thinking and enough like insight to see that, oh, they're using me as a chess piece, like I am nothing to them right now. So getting to see that there's more of a balance, and it's a political game, not just a point your gun and shoot kind of thing as you would expect it to be from Halo 1. So yeah, there's a lot more elements involved in Halo 2, which I think definitely makes it a lot deeper and makes it a lot more fun to see, oh, you're not just pointing and shooting a gun at things like you would for a normal FPS. There's something deeper involved here, which is a lot more like it roots it in not just, oh, this is my enemy, I'm going to kill them. There's a greater thing involved here, and you get to understand just all the pieces at play a little bit more. Yeah, so that's a major plus in the column for Halo 2 for sure. It's like I love that, seeing that happen in this series and make it a little bit more easy to dive into the story. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and it was unexpected, but it was not actually completely out of nowhere. They did foreshadow it actually really well, even from the first cutscene in the game for Halo 2. The opening that we see, at least for the first cutscene for multiplayer, because some people had said that we skipped a cutscene. Obviously, we didn't do that intentionally. But the first multiplayer cutscene in the game is just this juxtaposition between, you constantly see how they're treating Master Chief after the events of Halo 1 and how they're treating the Arbiter after the events of Halo 1. And Master Chief it's just mirrored every step of the way, except Master Chief is being celebrated and honored, and the Arbiter is being disgraced. But it's still like half from each perspective. So even at that point, they're showing you, oh yeah, this is a game about two halves and about two tales, and one of those tales is now Fel's tale. So it's pretty cool. It was foreshadowed, and they carried that, teamwork element, or each half of the story element through the whole game.
Yeah, for sure. And you just get to see like what victory looks like on one end with Master Chief, and just what failure like buys you for the Covenant. And very, very different outcomes. And as you play along in the story, you get to see eventually they're going to have a crossroads, and that crossroads just happens to lead them to the same that same point, the same ending that they have to get to. So it is an interesting way to see those like mirrored kind of experiences forge into one path at the end of it, which is very cool for sure.
Yeah, which brings me to another good element in this game. I think is a good element so far, which is the grave mind, which is the thing that kind of unites their paths, forcefully against their will. But yeah, grave mind, he captured everyone, and he seems like this badass new presence.
Right.
And so far, I'm still a little bit up in the air on what he is. I don't know if we're supposed to have enough information at this point in the playthrough, having beat all of Halo 2, to know if he is what I thought of originally, like a new separate element to the story, or if he is just like the living sentient embodiment of the thoughts and will of the Flood. Because if he's the latter, I think he's actually a step backwards. Is less exciting, and we said before in one of the other episodes, you do that with the Borg in Star Trek, and you give them there's this mindless drone force of just it's like a force of nature, and trying to fight against this oncoming plague, like the Flood initially is much more threatening than trying to fight against a leader figure. Like they give the Borg from Star Trek a queen, and then you can defeat a thing. You can defeat an entity. You can trick an entity. There's so many things that you can do against an individual than you can against this living, massive force of nature. It's this unrelenting, untiring, just plague sweeping across everything that you know. So to me, if Gravemind again is a new, unique thing that they've brought into the story, totally awesome. I can't wait to see what they're doing with him. If he's, just a mouthpiece for the Flood,
Right. And I'm not going to. I do have a little bit more insight because I played more of the Halo games, but I'm going to not spoil anything for you, just on the offhands, especially because of. We'll see with the Master Chief Collection if we do get to Halo 3 sometime soon, then maybe they've thrown in some extra terminals or extra elements that might add in some more info there that maybe even I haven't seen. So as for right now, I do kind of have an idea, but we're gonna wait and kind of figure that out as we go. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, as for me, I do like the idea that they introduced the Gravemind because the Arbiter and the Master Chief, there was no way that they were going to see eye to eye unless there was a third party kind of forcing them into that role. And the Gravemind, the way they did it in the remaster looks amazing, and the audio that they did for the Gravemind is fantastic, and just just having him be that force to kind of be to say no matter what happens, everything is going to die unless you come together. It was definitely I think it was a cool way to force them on that same path for sure. Because based on the first game and even most or some of the second game, the Arbiter only calls Master Chief the Demon. There is no way they're seeing eye to eye there. That was an awesome element too. And then the first half is them trying to kind of do the same thing all over again, except now you get to see both sides of that coin, where the Arbiter is trying to do the will of the Prophet, and Master Chief is trying to stop the Halo from being used, and then it really shakes up the equation or the formula that they use to bring them on the same side and show you just there's so much more at play here than it meets the eye, I guess. So there's a lot of awesome elements to this story. I guess the only thing that I have to say about the story that I didn't like is it wasn't super self-contained. It didn't have a self-contained element to it. But I think that is because they're looking forward to Halo 3, and they know that they have some gaps to fill. So this is more of the pathway to get to the ending of Halo 3 than it is its own self-contained thing. But I guess it is still really entertaining for sure to get to play through all of these story elements for sure and see both sides of those coins. So you get more Halo time, so that's good for sure, because it is a super fun game, 100%. So that I had a great time with.
Yeah, I didn't mind that actually. At the beginning, I was a little surprised because the ending is abrupt and it's clearly at a midpoint in the story. But you don't always have that freedom as developers. After Halo 1 was such a smash hit, they had the go-ahead from Microsoft, I assume, at that point, looking it through a financial lens, that they would most likely have been granted the ability to do 2 games back-to-back. It's like when certain movies get made with sequels back-to-back at the same time.
Yeah, right.
And when you do that, you can save on certain costs or whatever and tell a better, more cohesive story, whereas you go to see a lot of movies where they're just tacking on a sequel, and oftentimes there's zero attention to detail, and it doesn't connect with anything that came before in any sort of logical way. Look at all of the Halloween sequel reboots, prequels, all of these things. None of them seem to, even the ones that are a new trilogy, don't connect to each other very well.
Yeah, exactly. There's 4 different timelines where things are happening, and they're retconning, and they're doing all these different things.
Even in the very newest one, Halloween Ends, supposedly, at the end of the previous one, Michael Myers fights a whole town.
Right.
And in this new one, he gets beat up by one guy. It's there's and the main character, Laurie, I think her name is
Laurie Strode, I think.
At the beginning, she's living a quiet life, peacefully, even though Michael Myers is totally on the loose. After the end of the last movie, whereas at the beginning of this trilogy, they set her up as she was completely on edge, living this edge of her seat, making sure that she took all these precautions while Michael Myers was totally locked up. She was if he ever comes out, he will never get me. I am gonna have this totally militant lifestyle. He will never get me again. She was living that totally hardened lifestyle, and then at the third one, she's just dee. Even though he's already free now, now she's fine. There's no attention to detail. So when you have these opportunities where you have enough budget to guarantee you can make movies back to back, then I like it when they hopefully also make the story more cohesive. So they don't always do that still, because writing, we just want to get the money from the people and make an action scene. Okay, but when you can connect the story and just tell a better story, I really like it. So I'm looking forward to Halo 3 to seeing, because this was obviously done as part of one larger story. So even though I felt the ending was abrupt, I'm not opposed to. I'm sure it was probably divisive when Halo 2 was first out, because then you have to wait at least another year or two before you get to the full story. But to me, I think that's okay. So I think it's fine as long as the story and the end is cohesive, and I think it's worth it to split it up in that way. I can see how it could be controversial, but to me, I'm on board. Anything to serve the story and tell a better narrative. Right,
yeah. I feel you for sure. I mean, I was, when I originally had played it, I was definitely expecting something. I knew it was going to connect, after I saw, obviously, that kind of drop off there, when they ended so abruptly, I figured, okay, well, Halo 3 is definitely coming. I kind of wanted there to be a more well-encompassed, even if it was a subplot or something like that, something that you get a definitive yes or no, the ending of the story you see, and then integrate it into the overarching. I mean, now that I played it and Halo 3 is readily available and there for you, it definitely feels a lot better that you can hop on into the next one and just start playing whatever you want. So now I definitely feel it less than when I was younger and I'd finished playing Halo 2. I was like, damn it. For sure. But it also, Halo 1's ending to me was so awesome with that warthog going off and getting off the pillar of autumn, and just how epic it was. And this one, the ending battle wasn't as it wasn't all that insane.
I have to agree. If we're going into critical points, that's definitely one of them. Because even during that ending battle, there were a couple of times I was like, that's it? We're fighting this one guy who doesn't seem that hard?
It's just him and the occasional brutes, but then you get help from elites and Johnson and everything like that. So it's not all that difficult. It's, and he has been the villain from almost the beginning. So besides obviously the prophets and that kind of thing.
Right, but he is the on the ground villain.
Yeah, he is literally the hammer for them. He enforces all. So I did expect it to be a little bit more difficult. or have a little bit more creative element to it. But I mean, if they're doing this to get to this is like a means to the end for Halo 3, then it's not absolutely terrible in that regard. So yeah, I mean, it was still fun. I wish it was a little bit more difficult, but you know, what are you gonna do? I guess that's what they're thinking Legendary's for. So
maybe that final battle is incredibly hard on Legendary because there's so many moving pieces. It's hard not to take a hit. But yeah, for some reason, I didn't find the final battle too hard because of the ability to warp up through the center and then go back down on the side.
Yeah,
it seemed like his AI wasn't really capable of keeping up with that constant dynamic. So again, yeah, I agree. That end battle was definitely anticlimactic especially compared to the cool Warthog run.
Right.
But you know, overall, most of the gameplay was really fun. As a more of a major critique to me was and probably most people prefer it this way, but I don't like your shields are gone, you die. Like I still like the original Halo 1 style of your shields are gone, you still have health. And then you can get health packs and like your health is not an irrelevant factor.
Right.
I prefer games when you have more health to games where like the health bars are really small. Like fighting games, same thing. I like it when like the battles last longer and there's more back and forth opportunity. So to me, I still prefer the Halo 1 style, even though that is more of the classic style of FPS in general, where you have like more of a meat shield to your own health before you are completely dead. And then later games, like you just like take one or two shots and you're dead. It's more realistic that way, but also this is Halo where you have power armor, so it doesn't necessarily have to be super realistic for you to take lots of shots, and you can potentially keep on going because it all depends on how the power armor works. Anyway, I prefer the other version. This time, so many times through the game, it felt like my shields were gone. I instantly died. My shields were gone instantly. I just felt like I was dead so many more times in this than in Halo 1.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I definitely did die more in this one than Halo 1 as well, because you do want to keep pushing, like even after your shields are down. And yeah, you don't have an actual like bar that you can refer to. It's like, okay, if I take X amount of shots, I'm dead after this, after my shields go down or whatnot. And then yeah, it does force you to kind of retreat, slow down, and do all that kind of stuff. Whereas before, you could still push forward if you know you have full health. And then yeah, that is an extra element added to it as well, where it's like you're going to play slower if you don't have health, and if you do have health packs available, you're like, okay, screw it, let's go, and then that kind of that changes the gameplay a little bit more. So yeah, I mean, I could definitely see that element. I think they started straying away from that also because of like the multiplayer integration too, which definitely it hinders. But that was also at that point like Halo was becoming all for multiplayer, less for...
That's their main focus.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, that's where we're going to make our money, and at that point, like, Xbox Live was a big thing. So they're just like, okay, well, we'll dump all of our, or most of our assets into Halo for the multiplayer, and then you're kind of stuck on that for the campaign. So it's just kind of unfortunate. It's an unfortunate, like, sacrifice that they made. It definitely changes the gameplay style a little bit more. It makes you have to, like, kind of sit and be at ease, which is not usually the game style for these, or at least like be like dead immediately and then you have to restart, which on Legendary is just awful. So yeah, you would think for those elements they'd want to avoid that, but no, they just went, it seems like anyway, they went more multiplayer focused.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. Multiplayer is the focus, and that gets us back to the number one complaint that we have. Halo 2, a lot of fun, yes, but unfortunately for us, the entire experience was tainted / soured / brought down by this just constant plague of bugs where we're like, at the beginning, the first 2 levels were fine, and then after that, we're like just constantly on edge because once we hit the bridge level, we started crashing because of the vehicle bug. Then after that, you can crash just from watching a episode cutscene.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
and then it's just those were the two big ones. But then after that we're just on edge. We're playing, but are we having as much fun? Clearly not, because if you're playing with this like thing hanging over your shoulder,
yeah, right.
Is it progress? Is it safe, or do we have to go back and start researching Reddit for another 45 minutes? Like, it definitely dampers the experience.
yeah, for sure. Especially when they're introducing these elements, or like trying to utilize things in the actual campaign, like in that level, that you cannot use, like the vehicles.
Yeah.
Like we couldn't use at all in certain stages, which, I mean, that basically takes away entirely from your ability to play that level like the developers intended.
Right.
So
the entire point of the level is to have fun with vehicles on a few of the levels.
Yeah.
And if you can't use the vehicles at all, it makes the game like harder unintentionally and less fun, because you're removing variety from the game.
Yeah, exactly. So now you're stuck doing things in an unconventional means that like the developers obviously didn't want, and so they don't give you the weaponry that would be utilized best against vehicles, because you're supposed to be using your vehicles. So then it becomes basically like you're playing this game on the worst possible mode, and like you're babysitting the whole time, trying not to get a crash, and that definitely leaves a sour taste in your mouth when like you want to just get to the next story elements and you want to have fun with like destroying like the Covenant if you're Master Chief, or vice versa, like all that kind of stuff. It really like it just makes it such a lower tier when you can't have as much fun as you want. So I do wish that 343 and the whole team just kind of worked on the multiplayer aspect a little bit more, just because it seems it's not just us. Like, we've done a decent amount of research, and it's pretty well known that like if you're playing multiplayer, like these things are going to happen. You just have to kind of make do with it. Yeah,
these crash points have been well known for years, and the dev team doesn't care.
Yeah.
Or maybe the dev team cares a lot, but the higher-ups will not let them have time to fix these errors. These are well-known errors, but Microsoft's not putting the money into them. So, that just leaves a bad taste in your mouth. If it was, again, we would expect it more and have more sympathy for it if it was an indie studio.
Yeah.
But it's effing Microsoft with their, not like a side project either. It's their flagship series, Halo.
Definitely.
They have the money. They should fix it.
Yeah.
Even if it doesn't make them as much money as moving these resources onto other things, they should have some integrity. They should fix their flagship series so that it runs very well and fix errors that fans have complained about for years. It's just not how any sort of company operating with integrity should act. It's really disappointing. And we thought we had it behind us when we passed the vehicle section. We looked at, okay, just don't be in the vehicles, fine. If you're doing this for a challenge, like a self-imposed challenge, great.
Yeah,
but if you're forced to do it, it's obviously not quite as much fun. It doesn't have the same spirit behind it.
Right.
But anyway, we finished the vehicle thing, and we thought, okay, it's all behind us now.
Yeah,
and then 1 or 2 levels later, excuse me, 1 or 2 levels later, we die from, or the game crashes from a cutscene.
Yeah,
mid-level cutscene, and then we're researching, like scrambling, like what now?
Yeah,
and we have
exactly.
And it co-op campaign mode, you can't even watch all the cutscenes.
Yeah.
That's kind of important.
Yeah, right, exactly. They put all this time and effort into like trying to get the story like one cohesive piece, and like it's not like you're getting these cutscenes every single time. It's like you're getting a very beginning and a very end. Sometimes you get a middle one, and those middle ones can add a lot of context. So you want to be able to see exactly what the story is like piecing together to be. And then, lo and behold, you watch 2 seconds of it, and then boom, you're done.
Yeah.
And then now you have to start skipping cutscenes, and you have to go back, fill in the gaps. You don't have the same context. It like changes the entire relationship that you have with the game.
Right, and of course you're just unsure of what the next crash will be, so you're always looking over your shoulder instead of just playing and having fun. Because the game overall, the game experience is fun.
Yep.
The gameplay is fun. The cutscenes are awesome with these remastered versions.
Yeah.
And
for sure.
it's But yeah, so that was obviously our main complaint
Yeah.
going through co-op multiplayer, and a lot of people will not have that complaint. If you are going to sacrifice a game mode, that does make sense to be the one that gets sacrificed, because multiplayer is number one, single player campaign would be number two, and those should be pristine,
Right,
where they would have
right.
to fix everything. But you would think if you've got the big bucks and you're Microsoft, you should fix the other mode too. It
Yeah,
wouldn't take
yeah.
billions of years.
Right,
So
right.
anyway,
Yeah.
disappointing, but that was obviously our major complaint, and I think we're well justified in saying so.
Yeah, for sure. But like overall, still, I mean, like the previous Halo game had a lot of fun revisiting it. Like the music, still again fantastic. The visuals we already said, we covered those, but and the gameplay itself is fun when you can be actually in it, involved with like deep in the game and not kind of worrying about like the other things like the crashing and that kind of thing. So overall, still worth the playthrough for sure. Had a lot of fun with it. It's just, you know, it makes it a little bit harder when you have other elements involved. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely had a lot of fun. Overall, it is a positive experience. Yeah, the music was phenomenal. It's like the music is also a pro and a con. The pro side is it's extremely well done, better than I was expecting. It kind of continues the trend from Halo 1, where it's better than I expected to find in any FPS.
Yeah,
But both
yeah.
of them are extremely good. Yeah, this one I'd say the music was even better. Some of the Covenant tracks were really cool. But yeah, the music was phenomenal. The only bad part, the con part of the music is, why do they keep shutting it off? Like, just let it run in the background. You don't. It's called loop. Like, repeat, whatever you want to call it. Just have the track loop. It's not hard.
Right,
It's
right.
really good music, and it doesn't really serve anything to have parts of it where it's just dead quiet and you're running around shooting. Like, I don't get it.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it seems like even if they felt the need for that, it could be an option maybe if they think some players want the music to stop, like let the player decide. But anyway, yeah, music's phenomenal, really well done, and just would have liked it if they weren't so eager with that.
Oh yeah, for sure. There's certain times where you start really getting into the music and like it really encapsulates what's happening. It adds a whole new element to the story, all that kind of stuff, or it's just like more fun while it's playing. And then as soon as you start getting into it, it's just like boom, silence. Yeah, I mean, have different background music that's low key if you don't want to make it so in your face kind of thing. But I mean, you could still get away with just playing the same music, just lower the volume down significantly. It's still in the background, and you're still having fun with it. Because yeah, the only complaint is I wanted more because the music is so good.
Yeah, exactly.
For sure.
Before completely signing off, I do want to talk about the story. Because my concept of Halo, although I'm in the low percentage here, is I am playing for the story.
Yeah.
Yes, there are people who actually do that. FPS people are, that's definitely the lowest percentage probably. But yeah, I mean, to me, the story is really fun, but I did want to go into potential things that I thought that were weird about it.
Okay.
So I really like the story, I like the direction that they were taking it, but I don't necessarily like it that the San Sayun or whatever, the turtle dudes, the leaders, the prophets, the leaders of the Covenant are actually like believing they're drinking their own Kool-Aid. Like we talked about this a little bit before, but they seemed much cooler when they were manipulators using their religion to control all of the Covenant races, bend them to their will, and have them execute their master plan, and just using like kind of like Dune, where people like highly technologically advanced people like created religions to manipulate other races so that they like kind of served them. And that's a very cool kind of concept. But if they're actually just believers themselves, then the whole master manipulator thing that they've been shown to be up to this point just kind of falls flat. It's like they've manipulated themselves. They're getting other people to follow their beliefs. But that's not really master manipulators. Just this like, look at that awesome glowing thing. It's a god. And other people are like, oh, cool. They're like, yeah, come with us. It's not necessarily the same thing as, yeah, look at that thing. It's going to be your salvation. Now do our bidding. Like, these are two totally different levels.
Right.
So, yeah, if now that they're drinking their own Kool-Aid, I don't like these guys nearly as much. So, it seems like the story is has detracted from it a little bit. And the other thing was, at the end of Halo 1, the extra scene that we saw with Guilty Spark looked like Guilty Spark was going to be trying to manipulate the Covenant, where he like gets into this room of a whole bunch of Covenant guys and they attack him and he's like, are you guys done yet?
Yeah,
Because he has this shield or whatever that can stop them. Now, in this one, first of all, we were just talking about cohesive stories with, attention to detail and remembering the things that were done before. In this one, the brutes are like manhandling Guilty Spark and threatening to rip him apart. Like, what happened to your defensive mechanisms? Like a room full of guys was nothing to you before, but one furry guy, you have no shield that can stop somebody from grabbing you, then float up.
Yeah. He has a...
You have abilities that make these guys inferior to you in multiple ways. There shouldn't be... You either can defend against what they're doing or be nowhere near them.
Yeah.
He has a hammer. Like, go up.
Yeah.
So anyway, Guilty Spark at the end of Halo 1 seemed like he was setting up to start pulling some strings. Like, he's like, oh, let me tell you what's going on here. But then when they show us the terminals in Halo 2, it's more along the lines of, yeah, that's all that happened. He told them what was going on.
He basically,
that was it. There was no manipulation. He just was like, oh, by the way, this is the truth.
Yeah, he's like, you're being manipulated.
Yeah.
And this is what's happened, and that's it. And, like, you're an idiot for believing like whatever they're telling you, but I mean, I'm just telling you what's true. So yeah, he doesn't have his own intentions. Like in Halo 1, he was all about like, yeah, just turn on the ring, just like let's turn it off.
Exactly.
Yeah.
In Halo 1, they set him up as the villain, and he was a surprise plot twist villain because initially he seemed potentially helpful. But and then he had his own motivation.
Yes,
like you would think he would be carrying that forward. Like, okay, let me tell you the truth. And now, because of this, we have to go to the next Halo facility and turn on the ring because that's what his goal is. He wants to activate the ring. Like in this game, he just didn't seem like that was carried forward at all. And I was just complaining about when the writing forgets what they set up in the previous version. Like Guilty Spark had a goal. He had his course, and now he's just like, I am a computer. Here is the information that you have requested. You are done. Here is some more information.
Yeah, would you like the relevant information on this? Yeah, right, yeah. So, yeah, that is true. I feel like he was all on board with, turn it on. Like, let's go. Let's turn this key. And now he's relegated to being like an Alexa or something like that. He only like speaks when spoken to and or like has answers that they want, not what his original programming should be, which is use the rings if Flood becomes an enemy, which it still is. So yeah. So he sees one instance of Flood, like one Flood particle, and he's like, turn it on, like let's go. So yeah, that is true. He doesn't do a lot of that in this at all. He's just basically a side character because they want to make the Arbiter and that kind of thing, I think, the more relevant.
Which you can do, but you can still. It's better once you've introduced pieces that have like the ability to set things in motion. Like these are the pieces that control the other pieces. That should still be. That should have still been kept. He doesn't have to be doing a whole lot to be moving through some other things behind the scenes. Yeah. So I still think they took away all of his impetus or all of his ability to kind of set things in motion on his own. It would have been interesting. The more pieces that you have in play simultaneously, it is harder to write that kind of story. Yeah, but it makes it more interesting because you have all of these dynamics coming together at once. Yeah, and how does X affect Y, and then A and B come into play. Yeah. So it's very interesting. But yeah, I think Guilty Spark was left in the dust and forgotten, and he shouldn't have been. And anyway, we'll see if Halo 3 moves forward in any way, but it really doesn't seem like. It seems like their goals with him are gone now.
Yeah, right. Because they show that, I mean, he has shown the heretic that the prophets are these like master manipulators or whatever, or they're at least good at manipulating other like species in the Covenant. But I mean, he has pointed that out, but that should make it very obvious to him that they can be easily manipulated because he is already like relegated to some like godly entity by like he is the Oracle, so he's already some godly entity to the prophets, so he can just tell them It's like, yeah, turn it on. Your great journey is coming. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
Like, oh, you guys seem stupid.
Yeah.
As opposed, instead of saying that to his face, he's like, these guys seem stupid. All right, so here's what you got to do.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I guess they're trying to play it out as he is just a glorified computer, and he will like say whatever is in his mind at the time or whatnot. But like they already showed that that's not the case previously. So it definitely changes things up from the previous one, and it doesn't tell you why. It's just like he's no longer like that.
Yeah, it's Lori again.
Yeah, really.
So yeah, it should have been along the lines of, you guys are stupid, the prophets have manipulated you, let me tell you the truth. And then like he's like, oh yeah, the truth is we really need to turn on the Halo station.
Even tell the heretic guy, it's like, yeah, you're an idiot, tell him all the truth. But then like the prophets are the ones that are in charge because the heretic has told him that. So now he can use that to his advantage, and just like, it's like, okay, well, if that's the case, then you guys turn it on.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't matter what the elites think. Like,
right. There's a lot of opportunities for him to move forward with his agenda.
And then the Arbiter can be like, no, don't listen to the Oracle. He's obviously just wanting you to turn it on or whatever. Instead of him trying to talk to Tartarus at the end and be like, no, don't turn it on. All life will perish. And he's like, oh, you're a heretic now. That kind of thing. Instead. So it's the same way to get to the end point. It's just the consistency in which they use it.
Right, and it lets Guilty Spark remain a threat with agency of his own.
Yeah, right.
So
exactly.
even if unless they defeat that guy, he's still going to be trying to subtly get somebody to turn a key or do it himself.
Right. And I don't think that's the same Guilty Spark as the one before. But even if it isn't, like, they were created by the exact same entities, and they are AI.
I thought it was, because his name is still Guilty Spark, I thought.
I think...
The other one, they had different names.
Yeah, I know they had different names for them, but I don't know if that one... Because the one at the end is the Guilty Spark.
Yeah.
At the end of Halo 1. Right. But then the one on Halo 2, he comes in... Yeah, maybe they could be the same one, actually, yeah. So if that's the case, it makes even less sense. So
I'm pretty sure he's the same Guilty Spark. Yeah. The one that talks to Heretic is the same one from the end of Halo 1.
Yeah. Because
and then the one that Gravemind pulls up is a different one.
Yeah, right. I don't know exactly what he is, but I mean, they should all have the exact same information anyway, because they all are all connected to the Halos, and they all have one driving force.
Well, not necessarily, because in Halo 1, the terminal showed Guilty Spark was going gradually insane.
Yeah.
So different ones that were activated for longer and shorter amounts of periods could be more like at different levels of decay or madness.
Yeah, that is true.
Or their own sentient creations at this point, as opposed to just executing programs. So there is play for these guys to be different levels of threats.
Yeah, right. That is true.
But anyway, I would have liked it if he was on track, and I would have liked it if the Shayun, the turtleneck prophet guys were still, manipulators instead of just like believers.
Yeah, right. They're falling into their own trap instead of.
Yeah. It's not a trap. It's just like, come worship with us. Come down to the local church on Sundays or whatever.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Or come down to our It's like if it's more of a cult thing. So like, come down to our, our. I don't know. What is a cult house called?
I'm not sure. The compound?
Like the Waco, Texas dude who's like, come down to our special house and drink our special juice. And, but like he believes too, and then they're all like, we'll go to Mars, or we're all dead. Yeah, it's just weird.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Anyway, so those were some negatives about the story.
Yeah.
That scene. The scene where the prophets become like comic book stupid evil, where it's like it's not even comic book, it's like old Saturday morning cartoon stupid evil, the original Ninja Turtle Shredder level of stupid evil, where it's just like, no, we're not gonna take the 5 seconds it would take you to rip this flood off this guy. No. Let me twirl my mustache. Okay.
My weird earlobes.
Yes.
Whatever.
My little chin tuft. Like, this dude, we can't save you. We don't have time, even for you, brother. It's like,
yeah, he's the great journey waits for no one or whatever.
Yeah, even for you.
And
Like,
he's like, you could just stomp him out. Like Brute Man can stomp him out in a second.
Yeah,
like,
if he was calling from like a little ways away and the flood were like mass crawling on him, then okay.
Right.
Then he's like too scared or whatnot, and he keeps his brutes next to him. And like maybe, but just like one flood that would take literally the brute would be like. It would be 3 seconds. That's just too mustache twirling, generic cartoon villain buffoonery.
Right.
We're not even gonna save you, rabbit! Evil! Did I mention that I'm evil? It's just too stupid to believe. Like, it's way over the top. Let these guys be evil, but not cartoon buffoons.
Yeah, for sure. They definitely push it to the extent of like, oh, by the way, in case you didn't know, these are the bad guys.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, you should be well aware of what's happening here. Yeah. So, yeah, that definitely takes it to a whole new degree of their. I don't know if they're that eager to start the Great Journey, or they just really wanted the people at home to know. It's like, oh no, these people will stop at nothing. But either way, just shoot them or kill them, and that's it. Game over.
Yeah, their goal was to leave the hierarch vulnerable so that Master Chief could find him. And like Master Chief would be the one to have him at his mercy and be able to rip off the flood.
Yeah.
But they could have done that with like, they could have done that better with several flood gauge coming in on him.
Definitely.
Then the hierarch and the brutes leave. Then like this guy is like cornered and the first flood goes on him, but like Master Chief shoots the other one. Something like that to make it sell so that the freaking hierarchs aren't just pure evil with no actual intention of anything other than being like mustache twirling villains. It was just way over the top.
Right. Yeah, for sure. There's definitely some elements like that where they don't integrate it into the story. They just want to show you like these things that they have planned. So they're not just gonna make them kind of happen out of nowhere. Excuse me. Yeah, I mean, luckily there weren't too many of those, but there were enough to make it seem like, oh, well, that wouldn't really happen if that's the case. Like, if this is happening in real life, there's no way that people are just going to run out, or like that people are just going to leave you or leave this guy on the floor to be the next flood thing that turns into a flood, because you're going to want to limit flood like potential as much as possible.
And if it takes that guy a huge amount of time, or it puts him in himself in jeopardy, maybe. Mm-hmm. But it's a guy right next to him.
Yeah.
Like the way they sold it doesn't work. Mm-hmm. And then it's kind of the same thing for the whole Covenant Civil War, where if the elites have been serving them for generations, you don't just cast them aside. You don't allow this. I mean, you could maybe move the brutes up, but you don't just spark a whole like you guys are garbage now kind of scenario from that. It just seems.
I mean, the prophets have been like the prophets are so. I don't know if they're like becoming unhinged because of how close the Great Journey is to them, like how close they are achieving it. But it definitely seems like they're making a lot of like very rash decisions and things that are like it's black and white, and they're gonna, oh, you didn't do this one mission correctly, you're out forever, kind of thing.
That is a good point.
Like,
if it is them becoming unhinged because the Great Journey is right now at hand, then maybe they're like, okay, Bruce, you're in.
Like, we just got to get this done. Yeah, let's go. Like, we're on like the last 90, like we're on the last 2% of this Great Journey. Like, we just got to get to this one last spot. We're good. Or if they've always been like this, in which case the elites had no chance of staying here for generations this long,
right?
And not failing once. Like, that seems a little extreme. Yeah,
right. Because we know that humans have won certain battles before.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah.
And if the elites, well, if the hierarchs are these master manipulators as they've been explained as to us before, then they could have just had the brutes and the elites vying for it. Like, okay, because you failed us, the brutes now have their shot, and you guys can, whoever brings us the most victories in this war and takes us to the Great Journey will now be our
escort. Yeah, through the Great Journey or whatever. Yeah.
They will be our supreme forces, and whoever, like, that's an easy thing. They both want that role at that time.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, I don't know. That part seems like a major weakness, even if they are psyched about the Great Journey. It's just, oh yeah, by the way, the elites, you guys are fired.
Yeah. Yeah.
At least give them a purpose. You can't.
Right.
Okay. Anyway, so to me, that's a potential weak point. But the story had some holes. Definite holes. But overall, really liked it. Especially like Gravemind, especially if he's a new entity. Really like his dialogue, like you said, the way it was animated and everything. But like his language, his speech, like the dialogue that he was written with in general was really well done.
Definitely.
Really awesome. Really looking forward to seeing where they take Gravemind and what his overall agenda is. And the potential to get the Flood into the whole universe is still a major threat.
Yeah, right.
Even if Gravemind isn't that figurehead, or if he is, it's still not the end of the world, but still, because getting the Flood out into the world is a major, like, galaxy level ending threat.
Yeah, right.
So yeah, there were definitely some flaws in the major one, of course, being the bugs. But yeah, the story had a few flaws here and there, but overall, really liked it. Really liked the game as a whole. It had a lot of fun playing it, and I mean, definitely, besides the minor nitpicks in the story, majorly excited to see where the story goes from here, because they did end on that major cliffhanger. So I really want to see what happens next, whether we're in the shoes of Master Chief or the Arbiter or the mysterious molecule friend.
Yeah.
So whoever we're playing as next, I'm excited to just check out and see what happens next. And those are pretty much it. What about you?
Yeah.
Final thoughts?
I mean, overall, like I said before, I mean, there was a lot of fantastic elements to this game. I mean, I had a ton of fun seeing the new versions that they've integrated, like with adding the terminals, plus, you know, kind of revamping all the audio and the video of it. And yeah, gameplay, fun as always. Like you said, besides those one or two things that we had happen, I mean, overall, still had a grand old time playing it. So yeah, I definitely am excited to see Halo 3 again, because boy, that one was a lot of fun, and can't wait to see what you think about it. It's been a little while, so yeah, I can't wait to like kick back into it and get to see the trilogy of Halo play out. So yeah, other than that, I think that's going to do it for our Halo 2 playthrough. So yeah, like we said before, let us know if there's other games you'd like to see us play. And thanks for joining us on the Halo 2 adventures. It was a lot of fun for sure.
Yeah, let us know if you want to see us play Halo 3 or any other games, and we will see you guys in the next game.
Yes, indeed. See you guys in the next one.